space, someone to respect, open intellect. We need safe space, got to regulate, try to balance the way. Need safe space. I need safe space. Yeah, principal says, welcome to my office, you could come on in. I want to introduce you to a whole new lens. We all process stress, we don't understand. State-dependent function, let's come up with a plan. Life starts with a heartbeat. Heard you made some hard beats. I'ma check the music class, get you an extra seat, cause you need unity. It's all about community, building opportunities for healthy continuity. It's gonna take much more than you and me, but you can see we extra deep. We got teachers, counselors, and even celebs. Everybody's involved in the therapeutic web. It's not a quick start, but it's more like a marathon. No sin is spacing, just to help you carry on. It's about time that we make this change. Trauma-informed movement, educating your brain needs. Someone to be left, help them to be ready needs. Space, someone to reward, never to ignore. They need safe space, someone to respect, open intellect. We need safe space, got to regulate, try to balance the way. We need safe space. I need safe space. Safe space. Safe space.
Sir.
Welcome in, welcome in.
Yo.
I'm
excited to be here, man.
It's a beautiful night, man. Beautiful night.
Man, I'm excited to see y'all. Last week we were all on Zoom. So yeah, it's great to be seen.
We're gonna be regardless.
Absolutely.
So Haskell, I'm gonna ask you before Stevie asks you. You know what episode this is?
You gotta your word is official.
This is number 8.
Is it?
Is it though?
Are you sure?
No,
Is that your final answer?
you have to smile so hard, okay? You have to smile so hard. You gotta comment.
Because I love this part of the show. It's my favorite part.
Well, man, you got Stevie laughing hard too. Come on, man. It's 9, you guys. It's 9.
You heard it. You heard it here first.
Yes.
It's episode number 9.
No way, they.
Man, we got a great show for tonight. We got Young Smoke Loke in the building for part 2 of healthy communication. Man, before we get into it, let's go ahead and check in. I'll start the check-ins, man. Highs for this week. Some of us at the Music for Your Mental Health team, we just officially did our very first presentation workshop for the Department of Mental Health for Los Angeles.
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Because we're moving on up.
Man, Alicia, Stevie represented, and it was just a really dynamic presentation. So I'm hyped about that. Lows for the week. I actually shared the lows earlier today, but yesterday marked the 7-year anniversary of the loss of one of my younger cousins, Cameron Patterson. He was taken out by gun violence. And on top of that, we found out that my cousin had lost his grandmother yesterday as well. So it was it was definitely a roller coaster ride of emotions yesterday. As far as self-care, it's just been exercising, really moving and making sure that I am moving my body every day. So that's me. I'm going to pass it to Haskell.
All right. Well, rest in peace to your family, man. Huge losses. Never want to overlook what that does to people, or especially over time. So we're here for the love of it. A high for me. I woke up.
There you go.
I woke up. I'm in this today
Bye.
again. Didn't have any lows.
That's
I
what
have a lot of different things going on. They're not lows, but it takes a lot of brain power and prayer and concentration to get some of the goals fulfilled. But those are not lows. Those are just, continual. As far as self-care, I would say continue working out. Got my bike in the other day and did pretty well with that. And along that ride, an egret bird visited us.
What?
On the bike path. It's a long story. I'm just gonna say is when God is speaking to you, not to even over spiritualize this, but when he's speaking to you, he will send you signs. He sent me an egret bird. Look it up for yourself. It's one of the most beautiful birds. Sent it at the time we needed it, and it just sat there and stared at us.
Wow.
That was
Wow.
it was a highlight. It was a highlight. So yeah, I want to popcorn it to S. Dot.
Hey y'all. My week was nice. I did have a seasonal flare of the holiday grief. My mother's birthday was this last Saturday. So unbeknownst to me, it completely slipped my mind. And I was just feeling like a little cloudy, just emotionally. And then I had a friend check in with me, and he kind of brought everything to mind. And then that helped kind of clear the clouds. So I was able to just turn it around and just, man, this weekend I'm going to make it going to celebrate for moms and just make time for just rest and relaxation. So the rest of the week has been incredible for that in and of itself. So, and
Amazing.
my self-care was definitely checking in with loved ones and friends this week.
Nice.
I'm a popcorn it to Alicia Cherie.
Hey, I'll take that. So highs for the week. As Jay mentioned, we did a really cool workshop earlier today. So that's definitely a high. I'd have to say our trip to Colorado was a high, and making it home safely from that is definitely a high. Lows for the week. I don't have any lows for the week. As far as self-care, in the workshop earlier, I said I kind of fell short on self-care, but I'm realizing that I have been doing a little bit of self-care this week. I'm actually juicing. I'm doing like a juice cleanse right now because I've been eating a lot of junk and gunk this last like 3 weeks. So I'm trying to like get a lot of that out of my system, eating a lot of things that I haven't even touched in like months. So I'm trying to like get back to the diet that I was on in the midst of the holidays. So y'all, think good things for me because it's kind of rough in the month of December. Christmas is right around the corner.
You on your shiny salad shakes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right. Shiny salad shake.
Yeah, you have to have Cynthia back for part 2.
Right.
The shiny salad.
Right.
Salad shake. It's a tongue twister.
Who you popcorning to?
I'm gonna popcorn it to Donatello.
Yo,
Don.
cracking, ladies and gentlemen. I'm in the building. Highs for the week. I got another solid 4 days of working out in. That always that minimizes the lows, believe it or not.
Of course.
Like, just when you want to feel low, like you go to the gym, pump some high weight, and then lows go away. It's weird how that works. But with that said, 0 let's go 0 on the lows. 0 on the lows.
Hey,
Nice.
Yeah.
Come on.
I like that. So I
And
guess that's your self-care too.
self-care. Oh yeah,
Yep.
that's all inclusive.
I like it. I like
Yeah.
it.
all inclusive. Hitting the gym is a high, and definitely helps with the self-care. I love myself.
As you should.
As you should.
Who you popcorning into?
All right, kettle corn to Stevie.
Big Stevie.
Yo, what's
Crack.
good, everyone? Man, let's see, highs for the week. I'm gonna pick another high because I did a high in a workshop, but I think my high for the week is actually I had to participate in this learning walkthrough with my teachers today, and with the administrators on top of that, and it just gave me a whole new lens of how to look in the classroom. I feel like it's definitely something I can just add on the resume, but it was different looking at an educational lens instead of a therapeutic lens for one. So that was kind of like my high. I learned something today.
That's all right.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, it's not funny or nothing. It's just, it's just something new.
Funny enough. We didn't think it
Now
was
it's funny.
Y'all thought I was gonna crack a joke or something, but it wasn't. No. So
you just funny, Steve. That's it. You
Right.
just funny.
The low was what was my low this week? I'm gonna have to go with a 0 low too. I had said earlier in the workshop that low was like my baby tried food for the first time and then she spit out the carrots at me. But I'm not going to say that's a low because she ate the applesauce. She ate up all the applesauce today, and I'm like super proud of her. So
Let's go.
That's huge.
Yeah. So it's like, can I go 2 highs, no low? And then self-care. I've been drinking like
Whoa.
I've been
hold
drinking.
on now.
I've been drinking.
Whoa, Steve.
You late. You took too long with that one.
I'm sorry, my
Stevie.
connection is bad.
That's the worst time.
Definitely.
I've been water. Water, like 64
Yeah,
ounces
holy
of
Sure.
water. And
Sure, water.
I've been drinking a lot. I put BCAAs in it that my trainer gave me, Dwayne, and I've been just guzzling water.
Yeah, water
Not
and
vodka.
wine.
that
No,
water was
Water
it
and
was
wine.
blurry.
Ooh.
The water
It
and
was
wine.
blurry, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's blurry.
Water.
It's
Blurry, so we
blurry
don't
water.
even know if that's water.
Yeah, well,
That's the brand name, Blurry Water.
All
Trademark
right.
it.
Okay.
Hey, Steve,
Lies.
he don't want to sponsor nobody unless it's his. You know what I'm saying? You gotta unless it's when it's your company, then you put it in the video.
Right.
Said like a true boss.
Yes.
Oh,
But yeah, let's go ahead and popcorn smoke.
Woo,
woo.
Self-care, brother.
I appreciate you guys having me, man. This is probably my high of the week, man. Being on the podcast with my squad. You know what I mean? With the family.
Squad goals.
And I got a couple highs. I mean, my birthday was like, was it last week? It was just like my birthday just barely passed, so I'm still partying.
Happy belated, bro.
Still celebrating.
What was the number? What's the number?
36.
Nice, man.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
Definitely went up.
36, bro. We went up, man. And then you know what? Okay, this is what happened in the last podcast. My high was I found the studio, but see what the low is that the whole thing fell through. So it was the perfect building. I was like getting ready to get into it, and the landlord wanted to go with somebody else. He wanted to go in a different direction with it. So I'm still on the hunt, man, for a new studio, for a spot. Because to find a studio is kind of specific to me. You got to have like kind of a building that's a little bit to it on its own. You don't want to be like next to a law office or like, an old folks home or something. She
That's
was
real
like,
talk.
it's like there's just you gotta. It's like so specific, man. It can't just be anywhere, you know. So this building was a standalone. It was a perfect spot, but it's all good. We're gonna find another one.
Yeah.
Of course.
And
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
and then on the self-care, so last time I was talking about trying to like get that mile time down, but this week I've been trying to shoot for distance. So I ran 3 miles in 30 minutes.
There you go,
So
man.
that's my
Nice.
self-care.
All right.
Yeesh.
Yeah, man. So that's my self-care. It's definitely been the running.
Well,
But it's like
That's what's
if
up.
I can't, you know, I think it's almost like it's just a habit now. I'm just getting out there and I'm just trying to get it in at least like once a day, at least a mile or 2. But now it's like I'm gonna try to push it to 5 if I can, man. Next time I'm on here, I'll be like, "Hey, y'all, I hit
Got
the
it, bro.
5."
You got that.
hey, man,
That's not the.
they're gonna call you Smokey Gump.
All right.
Wow.
What I'm talking
Out
about.
there in his Adidas suit.
Yeah, with the Cortezes on.
There you go.
Cortezes on every.
Exactly. But man, that's awesome, man. We happy to have you back. Let's pick up where we left off. For the listeners who weren't able to hear. Oh. Yep. For the listeners who weren't able to listen to the first installment of part 1, pretty much we covered the origin story of Just Us. Really before we even became Dyles Mavis. And so I think this time in part 2, we are going to attempt to pick back up where we left off, which is right after we were signed to Interscope Records, and what kind of transpired after that, working with Haskell, changing our name, and really dealing with all of the transitions in between and after that, that really tested our mental and our brotherhood. So Smoke, let's take it from the end of the Interscope relationship and how that transpired.
Okay. Yeah, cause see, I'm glad you gave me a little recap because I was trying to remember where we ended the story, you know. But I think I remember us stopping at like, you know, the highs of that where we were like met, you know, Polo the Don and Justin Bieber or whatever, and all those things, and it was cool because we were learning a lot about the music business. But then I think what we didn't talk about is like what were like some of the hard lessons that we learned during that time though, you know. And it was I remember sometimes getting into debates about like our own sound, and sometimes when you're getting in the studio with seasoned vets, the truth is you start kind of looking at your own stuff, or you go home and you start judging your own music and your stuff a little more harsh. Like, oh, you know what? My beats don't sound like Polo the Don's. My songwriting isn't like so and so. And you start kind of bashing your own stuff, man, when you get into those rooms. And sometimes I remember what was great about the 3 of us is, bro, we would like really hype each other up, and we would definitely be a solid, you know, person, like just be solid for one another when we started getting that little doubt or whatnot, or when songs weren't placing and you start thinking like, oh, is it because my beats aren't good enough? Is it because this? Is it that? You start doubting yourself. And I think the 3 of us we got stronger because we started to believe in each other. And I think we took that into our next phase when it came to performing in putting out our own records.
Yeah, I agree. Sean, did you want to add to that at all?
Well, because my question is this: did you guys feel like it was a low when the Interscope contract was done and there was no like offer to like keep the relationship with us? And I mean, essentially, it almost felt like getting dropped or something in a sense. So that's what was the feeling. Even though it's kind of just fizzled out, but it just felt like that to me. I always wanted to know what you guys felt at the end of that situation.
Yeah, go ahead, Sean.
I don't, bro. It's tough for me to explain because now I completely understand why everything happened the way that it happened. Was it a low? It was. I never doubted our sound, like our creativity, our production, our songwriting, our vocals. I never doubted anything. I always justify everything by time. Like, you know what? This is the industry is not really ready for a sound that isn't talking about, you know, the destruction of the Black man and degrading of the Black women, and not talking about, you know, lust and drugs, and that's what we were. That's our sound. Our sound is everything outside of what the radio wants. And I felt like there was a lot of like pressure at that time to produce records like that, and that really just wasn't us. And I wasn't ready to bend, break, or move from that. So if you weren't rocking with it, then I always felt like, oh, that sucks for you. So it wasn't a low for me. It was like, okay, well, maybe the industry hasn't moved into that place where they're ready to be a little bit more wholesome.
Yeah.
What about you, Jay?
It was a low for me, man. I was pissed off. Like there was no like feeling good and like I don't know what y'all talking about. I was pissed off.
Call it what it is, Jay.
Like
no, I'm trying to tell you, I needed your side in it, man.
And
I never do.
Healthy communication.
Yeah,
Right.
part of it was, you know, this was all happening while I was in school. And like I had just made the decision to like really focus on school. And so as I'm like really like, because once I decide to do something, I'm doing it. So I remember having the conversation with you know, our manager at the time, and he was like, hey, you coming to the studio? And I was like, I need to focus on the schoolwork. Like, I just have to get it done. Like, this is what I'm doing. And when I have time to make music, then I'll make music. Like, I don't care if you're Interscope. Like, this is what I'm doing. So what made me upset was that he was like, he was understanding. It seemed. It's like, well, that's okay. And he said something that made sense at the time. He said, the music industry will always be here. What he didn't say is that the door will not always be open for you to get in. And so he left that part out. So I'm doing my school thing under the guise of, when I'm ready, I'll just, you know, go back through the door. No, the door closes while I'm still doing my school thing. And by the time I get done and I reach back out, it's crickets.
Right.
And things have fizzled out. And so I'm pissed off. Like, bruh, like, this is not fair. And so for me, that was kind of what I was carrying into the next phase of who we'd become, with that kind of chip on my shoulder. Like, damn, I missed out before. I'm not going to miss out again. And yeah. So yeah, moving from
What I was gonna say this, like just to piggyback off what you were saying though, Josh, I feel like we all like at the end of the day, I think we all like took it a certain way. But it was kind of like that. But what I think that we all have like I guess our common, I guess like defensive mechanism, I guess, to that situation was like, we're gonna go hard and we're gonna do this by ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, cool, if it's not that route, then I guess we have to manage ourselves. We are going to book our own shows. We're gonna put our own rehearsals together. It's time for you or Sean or me to go and learn how to become engineers. It's time for, it's time for us to open the book and learn the music business on our own. That to me was our response though, which I'm definitely proud of us for that, because I think that situation did spark all the entrepreneurship that we're doing now. It could have been a whole different thing. I think if we were just if our hands were, I guess, being held the whole time, so to speak. We had to learn everything, bro, on our own. There was stuff that I remember us just having to figure out, and I think it kind of came from like having a little chip on the shoulder or whatever. Kind of like,
Definitely. I have here in the notes, next to conflicts, any disagreements, and how we dealt with disagreements. So can you remember any specific disagreements that you might have had in the group or bandmates or anything? Personnel? I could think of a few.
Let me simplify your question. How do they go down?
Yeah.
Did they go down? When did they go down? How did they go down?
What did it look like?
Yeah. Talk about it.
I'm trying to think of some stuff without moving fast, like without trying to like fast forward too much into our story. But I think I remember when we started, after we basically decided to keep our music, and we were like, you know what, the whole goal of like trying to get placements and stuff, we're like, let's just keep these songs. And that's when we went into the next phase of saying, now we're going to become a band, and if the industry or if labels don't want the songs, then we're keeping the records ourselves. Wow. And I think I remember that being a little bit of a fight, because it was kind of like, one of us, everybody was kind of on something different, where like sometimes maybe I remember sometimes Jay saying, we got this is bringing records to the table, and we would like kind of like, I don't know, maybe we wouldn't be equal. It kind of started to get to the point where we weren't equal when it came to writing. We would kind of like, it would be like Sean and maybe me writing songs by ourselves, and then Jay just kind of coming in and hopping on at the very end. Where I remember in the beginning, when we were in part one, man, when we were talking, it was like every song that we used to do, we would write the whole song together. The song would be birthed together. I just felt like in that situation, and this might, now that we're talking about this and we just on here, I feel like that kind of Interscope situation kind of made us all have different perspectives on stuff, and we started to kind of like create in our own way and do it and trying to do things on our own. And I think that was healthy, but it definitely did like have I think a strain on the group aspect of it when we weren't like rocking together all the time, you know? That now that I think back, I remember it being more like everyone started creating on their own. And at the time I didn't really see it as a bad thing, but maybe that was kind of like something that we could have put a little wedge, man, in our creativity and into the team.
Yeah. Yeah. Sean, did you have anything to add?
Not right now. Carry on.
Where are you going?
Yeah. Well, maybe
kitchen.
no. Look, Jay, you might have to.
Run back to the mic.
Jay, you might have to help me out, man, because I want you to like maybe you might have to remind us of some stuff, man, because there's some funny times and there's some like rough times.
I got a question because
y'all gotta hop in, man.
Yeah, no. Because there was a point in time where I felt like it was a dead space between just us. I think y'all had put out a few songs. There was Paint the Town on like a CD, right? Mm-hmm. And that I feel like that was like after the entire Interscope process, right? So you guys were still doing music, you guys were doing shows, but I felt like it was dead space. And then all of a sudden, Najee must have attended one of you guys' shows. And then I felt like that kind of rejuvenated something within the group where he went in and kind of just took a little bit of a charge over the group. Let's go into that part.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see. Okay. Because I remember us meeting Najee when we did a show somewhere in LA. And he was there, and then Sean, you had happened to know him.
Yeah, like intro to Naj. Shout out to Naj. Hey man, your birthday's coming up soon. Happy birthday, big dog. Yeah, Naj came in. Naj immediately fell in love with the sound. I mean, I feel like a lot of people that were, older could appreciate our sound because we were playing instruments. Yeah, at that time we all learned an instrument and we were just doing our own thing. And he was like, yo, this is dope. I want to invest. So he initially started out as an investor and, like us, didn't have a whole lot of, background with music and how the business works. But he definitely wanted to be a part of what we were doing. And he hopped in the mix. He introduced us to Haskell because he was like, yo, this is tight. His thing was, I want to make it tighter, like as far as like sonically. So intro to the tightest person he knew, which was Haskell. And like that was the beginning of the Najee chapter, which was also the beginning of the name change, which was also the beginning of a lot of things. Some things, and this was me. This was a phase that I went through where I was not communicating everything that I thought at the time. Like,
what were you thinking?
I was thinking, well, if we're going to go into, we're going to go deep.
Going there.
If we're going deep into it.
Well, this was the whole reason for having part 2.
This was
because there's a lot that happened, and because you guys have grown through it, but it's okay to go back and look at how life and experience and growing older and how these things, they're different now, but you went through it. So what was it? What did you go through? It's a safe space.
It's a safe space.
It's the 5 heartbeat story. Let's hear
it.
Let's hear it.
It's going to sound it's not 5. For sure, Jay is done.
Missing. Let's go.
All right. So this is going to sound a little crazy to to some people, which is cool. This is a safe space, hopefully.
Yes, sir.
But I
It
remember
is.
clearly, and I think Jay and Smoke remember this very vividly. It was just one random night. I think we were leaving the apartment. I lived in Falkirk at the time, like maybe 2 blocks away from UCR. And I was sat down in the foyer and I was waiting on like Jay and Smoke to come out the apartment. And it was nighttime. I'm chilling by myself. And I heard the voice of God say so clearly to me in this moment, keep your hands on the music. Keep your hands on the music. And I started crying. I'm like, oh, snaps. Like, why would I take my hands off the music? Like, what does that even mean? So anyways, Jay and Smoke come out there like, bro, what is going on? What's up? I was like, bro, this is going to sound crazy, but I just heard audibly God tell us to keep our hands on the music. And of course, in that moment in space, this is like 2005. This is before anything happened. Like, because we was producing right out of the bedroom. Like, this is like we were going upward very fast. And God saw it and he was like, hey, heads up. I'm gonna need you to do one thing moving forward. Keep your hands on the music. Keep your hands on the music. I told Jay and Smoke in that time, in that space, and we were like, oh yeah, for sure, bro. Like, what are you even talking about? Why would we not even like what? And I understood it because I understand it way better now because I know that it's our hands that is going to make the music that's supposed to be. And it comes from a story that hey, bro, we about to go deep, huh? All right.
Yes, sir.
Keep
going, Shonda.
Yes.
Going.
So anyways, how much time we got, man?
Stevie
Got
push him in
time.
the back.
Keep
Man.
going.
All
Get above him, like kick him, like keep him in the back, Stevie.
So my story is a little different than Jay's and Smoke's because I didn't grow up doing music. I just grew up loving it. And when I got to college is when I had a dream. I had another dream that I was supposed to do music. And I woke up out of the dream and immediately turned to the Bible and I read the story of David and the story of, so I was initially praying because I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a pediatric orthopedic. I remember very vividly, I wanted to be a pediatric orthopedic. And I was praying about it and I was talking to God. And I was like, yo, is this the course I'm supposed to be on, et cetera, et cetera. And he responded to me with music. He was like, yo, you can heal way more people with music than as a doctor. And I was like, wait, what? And I was like, okay, cool. That's when I opened up and I saw the story of David playing the harp for Saul when he was plagued with evil spirits. I can't remember what chapter that's in, but I encourage people to go look at it. And what I realized was that the reason why David was able to play away the evil spirits because he was just an anointed man of God. It was his hands that was on the music. It was the vibrations, the frequency, whatever it was, David had the touch. And I was like, okay, cool. I don't know much about music, but I know God. So maybe he's going to use that through me, that to make the music I'm supposed to make. I don't know. I'm just following my dreams and chilling with my boys. And then fast forward to that moment where he was like, okay, cool. Now you see how you're doing music. You see how they're helping you with music and you're moving along, you're moving forward with this. Now keep your hands on the music. Perfect. And that's where I'm at with it. So fast forward to Najee, like 2007. That's like intro to other hands on the music. And I never really communicated like, hey, I don't feel like we should be like letting other people touch our sound. I just was kind of like, maybe this is a route. I don't know. Maybe this is good. Like, Najee seems like a cool guy. Like, I don't have a problem. And it wasn't even him. It was Najee's not a bad person, or anybody that wanted to work with us. They're not bad people. Like, that's not the problem. It was just we didn't have enough confidence in ourselves to trust our own hands and our own sound. And then fast forward to, going down the road with like having other hands touch our sound.
Hey, if you don't mind, can I touch on that Najee situation?
Hey, yeah, let's go.
So I think one thing I wanted to, what I remember in that situation, and I think that the honest truth is this: as much as we knew about making records and making music, being kind of prideful at that time and having a little bit of ego, I didn't really want to admit that I didn't know anything about the music business. But I never admitted, I never wanted to admit it. You kind of pretend like you know what you're doing, and you kind of like fake it till you make it, until you sign a contract and you gave up 100% of your stuff.
Yeah.
And you like, oh, you over here bragging about this contract. Yeah, this and that. Somebody read and be like, yo, bro, you just gave up 100% of ownership. And I'm like, what? Oh, you know what I'm saying? So that type of stuff, in that situation, that's the situation for me that I remember making me, I guess, kind of like mad, man. That was like one of the first times I was ever mad, and I blame myself. I was it was somebody else's fault in the group that we made that decision. I don't at the time, I don't remember if any of us were saying, let's not do it or let's educate ourselves. It was kind of like I think what Stevie was saying, it was like kind of a downtime for us, not down like as far as like my personal, well-being, but it was like a downtime for the group. We weren't doing as much. So then when Najee came along and was like, I'm gonna put up bread, we're gonna put you in the studio, he gonna put up thousands of dollars to get us in the studio, put us in a real studio where we can re-record all these songs that were produced in the bedroom at the time. We just jumped on it. And I think that that situation definitely was a hard time for us, because you're learning like you can't do what you want to do. I'm over here getting mad at Najee or getting mad at the team, like, hey, yo, we need to write some more songs and we need to put some more records out. We got to do this. And you find out that you contractually you can't. And that to me is somewhere that since we on the Music for Your Mental Health podcast, that is something that can weigh your mind and that's when I started feeling like, okay, bro, I'm feeling like mad and I'm getting depressed about this situation, when a second ago I was happy about it and I was bragging about it and I was telling everyone about it, and you're just, when you start learning what you're doing and you found out that you gave up the publishing, and you found out that whoever pays for the studio time owns the masters. These are all things that we had to learn like on the way. And it's not a knock against Najee, because that's just 100%. He's just 100% a businessman. We signed a contract that we agreed to, that we got upset about and everything after the fact. So that was on us,
Sure. We had that meeting. We had that meeting in the studio. You guys brought the agreement. And then I started reading. And this is a while after. And I started kind of breaking down certain points. I was like, yeah, this is what you signed.
It wasn't funny at the time. I'm laughing about it now.
No, it wasn't.
No, it was very serious.
My heart went out, man.
Yeah.
My heart went out.
Dang.
Yeah.
So let me get this straight.
Like, you guys had to, like, this was like a paying dues, I guess you could say, part of our phase of our career.
Yeah.
What song?
He was jammed up and jelly tight.
Yeah.
So within this contract that y'all signed, were y'all not allowed to make music as Dyles Mavis?
No, it wasn't that. It was the contract that we signed. We signed over the masters to the music that we had made.
So it's like the album that we took 2-3 years to make, you just at the end you found out that you don't own any of it. That project is not yours. You know what I mean? Because we gave up 100% of it. You know. And I guess if there's anybody tuning in, a little side note, just a little music education or music business education. The masters is the recording of the product, is the product. Like that product that you see on Spotify or back when it was a CD, that's the master. Yeah. Right. So let's say you sold that for $10. That when somebody owns 100% of that master, that means that $10, it all goes to that person. Whereas what we were under the impression of is that it was 50-50, but this is exactly what happened. And this might bore some people, but this is going to be some education. What happened is in the contract, it said we get 100% of the writers. He gets 100% of the publishing. And the way that we kept on going over, it was like, okay, 50-50. Oh, I get it. 100 for us, 100 for you. Because he was like, yeah, the way that the industry breaks down, you don't want to look at it like 100%. You want to look at it like 200. And all of that was just, bro, really, this is what it meant. We still get to own. Yeah, we still own the song.
Healthy communication.
We still own the songs, right? Like we wrote the music, but he owns the album. So every time you sell an album, every time you sold a hard copy of the album, and this is kind of right before the Spotify streaming era, every time that project was sold, he got 100%. And I was like, man, I was like, this is ridiculous, man.
Well, let me add to the business side of how how it breaks down. For ASCAP, the way ASCAP is a society, right? They track your writing, your everything, your publishing, your writing. ASCAP does it 100%, and then it's broken down 50-50. BMI does it as 200% pies. So like ASCAP is 50% writers, 50% publishing. BMI is 100% writers, 100% publishing. They're both the same. They just read differently. Right. No one has the right to take your writing, but they can negotiate your publishing unless they do a publishing deal with you where they're paying for that part of your business. Now, if he gave you, if you guys did a publishing deal with him, then he has a right to have that side. So I don't know, but I think you guys had a publishing deal with him as well, right? As well as an artist deal.
Yeah, he created a publishing company.
So that's why he got the publishing deal. Did you guys get an advance for that?
We got some pizza and
I can't stand you right now.
Yeah, we really didn't know.
Okay. So basically,
did y'all get some hats? I saw y'all like brown hats.
All right, Stevie.
We're not going to talk about the dad cap.
Yeah, we got some some hats. We got some hats made.
Pizza and Thai food. I'm so done.
I remember going to a show and he just had a box with these hats. And I just was like,
that was your advantage, bro.
Shout out to Naj, man. He's doing the best.
Yeah, shout out to him, man. Yeah. But yeah, that's just, that's a tidbit into the deeper side of how the business works and should work. But yeah, it was just interesting things that happened.
Interesting things.
I'd love to go behind the bars real quick. If we got a second, man.
So I want to say this before. I think it was a question in the chat that was super important. We only have 10 minutes left. I hate that. But was there any animosity that grew amongst you guys?
Any animosity?
Like
any animosity. Like y'all got mad at each other. It was like, that is part 3. We need a part 3.
It has to be now, because
it has to be a part 3. So let's lead into it.
How you want to ask that question though?
You know why?
Find out.
Because they just said I want to go behind the bars.
Nah, we got it.
Come on, Haskell. Let me know.
Deep water. We're already in the deep water. We can't come up and get life jackets right now. I say that because I was in a group for 10 years under Motown. And I know it was a lot of animosity in that group. I mean, almost fisticuffs, like we almost threw down in the street, and we were a gospel group throwing Bibles at each other. It was for real, on the real. So I'm just asking you guys, it's hard to keep a group together. And when you go through things, especially in the music business, you feel like things are taken from you. Disrespect happens. These are human side of life, right?
Right.
So was there any animosity that you guys had to get over?
All right. So do you want to answer that, man, or is it like part 3?
It's gonna lead into part 3. We're gonna make them come back for more. They gotta.
Yeah.
All right.
But let's lead them into that.
That's the pending question.
Of course.
And we'll pick up on that.
I'll answer. Hey,
okay. Is the answer yes or no?
I'll answer it like this, though, Haskell. I think it's like it's like a team. When we started, we continued to take L's, and that's the honest truth. We're continuing to take L's, and those L's definitely we're chipping at everybody on the team. So the truth is, between me, Sean, and Jay, there was nothing that was done between the 3 of us. There was nothing like I can't pinpoint and say, man, that was that time that it was that Jay be like, that was that time that Smoke was wearing my J's. I don't know. Like, it's not one of these, like, we never had that. It was, we had the music.
You were wearing my Air Force Ones.
We had music industry issues. We would literally be arguing over, hey, bro, we need a new manager. And then disagreeing everything within the music business, though. There was so many things like that. We need to stop this group stuff. We need to become a production team and try to write for people. Forget this production stuff. Forget the industry. Let's try to become our own independent label. And all of that stuff, everybody wasn't agreeing on every move. And to me, I think that's where the part 3 needs to happen, because people, I think the viewers need to see like how you can grow up and how you can work together and still end up turning those L's into W's, man, later on.
Okay, that's a good intro. Jay, what is your perspective? And then Sean, what is yours? Just give a tidbit of what we are to expect.
Man, my perspective is pretty much when not speaking up goes wrong. And I felt like really speaking up for myself and my ideas, I was at a disadvantage, especially coming out of like the Interscope situation. And I've never really, I was never really good at speaking up for myself, even before then. So that just gave me an excuse to like kind of just hold certain things in. And so, part 3 is like, just there was a bunch of little things, and Smoke is right. Like a lot of the things that were bothering me were coming from moves being made in this music game, and my feelings getting hurt because sometimes I wasn't involved in the moves. I wasn't consulted about the moves, or sometimes I was just left to move by myself. And so all of my frustrations really came from not speaking up for myself and not saying what needed to be said when it actually needed to be said. So I was just walking around. Nobody knew it. I was just walking around pissed off.
Wow. Okay. Wow. There's a lot in that. That's what we gotta hold that.
We gotta unpack all of that.
We gotta unpack all that.
We gotta unpack all of that. Until next week, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time.
Man.
That's weak, officer. Anyway,
cliffhangers, man.
Let's try that.
I think during this time I was kind of like looking on the inside, because they was like, coming to the house in Compton, and that's where we were all kind of like meet up. And I saw like everybody kind of drifting, like everybody kind of doing their own thing. I saw Sean was like making his own beats, and he wanted me to get on and write some stuff. Smoke would ask me to come through to the studio, and every now and then I would work with Jay. It was like I always felt like there was a way that was, yeah. And I was cool. There was no way everybody wasn't getting in the studio. And when we would get in the studio, it would just be like a huge freestyle session. And nobody would really get any music done at that time. And I was just like, okay, well, we just stayed up to 3 a.m. just freestyling. And I just started making songs. And I felt like that's when I started to see like, okay, everybody's just, I guess, is trying to do their own thing. So, but yeah, the next week.
Yeah, to next week. I think my role and vision in on all of it was looking at it from a big brother perspective. Welcome to the industry.
Yeah,
that was like, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. This is what you guys should do. You guys should make apple pie out of these apples. Like, you have everything in front of you. I saw the talent was through the roof. You had everything you needed. And then you hit that hard part of the industry that a lot of people really don't make it through.
sure.
Like, there's some people still dealing with old industry stuff that changes who they are from a trust level. Like, you can't trust nobody no more. You don't know nobody. You don't know people's motives.
Yeah.
You don't know if they, like, when it comes to business, you always gotta, kind of, because of this situation. So I'm happy that you guys made it through it. You're stronger for it. And it's a blessing that you guys are talking about it right now.
Yes.
And unpacking this stuff. So it's good to see. Because now y'all husbands, y'all fathers, y'all like, it's a lot sad that has happened. But it's a huge teachable moment to a lot of people that are listening in.
Right. And I think
we got 1 minute.
Oh, snap! This is going to be next part 3, and you gotta understand though that I've been a part of this industry we got in it during this major change. It's the biggest change ever. That transition, we were in it, and that's hard, bro. That was hard too. So we got to talk about that too, man.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely.
Well, till next time, shout out to Dyles Mavis. Shout out to the team. Y'all made it this far. And till next time.
My dog.
Yes, sir.
Next time, y'all.
Part 3, behind the bars.